Hello everybody, and welcome to Indianapolis Raceway Park, race number 10 for the MSCA American Ethanol Truck Series. And this is going to be a good one. We've already seen a pretty decent qualifying effort. A few different incidents in qualifying as well that caused one caution, or that caused one incident, but we'll get into the starting lineups with Igor Barretto starting on the front row in pole position, with Bill Cox, the veteran driver, in the 22 to his outside. Row number 2 will be Kurt Trencherman. He's shown a lot of strength recently in the number 44 for Rogers Racing, the 44 of Justin Zeidel. Row number 3, the first part-time driver, Stephen Thompson in the field, is going to be driving the 55 inside of row 3, and Tanya Breyer to his outside in the 38. Ace Garcia, a decent position for both of these drivers to start. Ace Garcia and William Brock starting in row 4. Dave Kennedy, the second part-time driver in the field, row 5 inside, and to his outside, current second place in points, Mitchell Henderson. Row number 6, Derek Yarworth in the 80 truck, another veteran, and Isaac Nichols in the 13 to his outside. Row number 7 will be the 6 of Nick Pericles, a driver from the ASCA, as well as Colin Denton in the 19, a Copperhead Amateur Series driver. Kenny Washington as well in the Copperhead Amateur Series. Ryan Kendall in row number 8 outside, a Pennzoil Pro Series driver. A lot of ASCA drivers in here. Eric Monaco, another one inside row 9, and Ed Jones, owner of Jones Motorsports, on the outside. Fernando Olieza and Daniel Bouchard in the 54 car in 37 will make up row number 10. Row number 11, Antonino Russo on the inside, and on his outside is the 53 of Eli Bright in the Casey's Chevrolet. Row number 12, Kieran Pangborn in the 24 starts inside row 12, and Fradamar Otts in the 543, another start for him on the outside of row 12. Jennifer Power, BCR Mercedes top points driver right now, and current points leader, Jason Kranz, will make up row number 13. Nathan Howman in the 17, a single race winner so far this year, as well as Alexander Rowe will make up row 14. As we're getting back to the back of the field, Al Lagasse, race winner at Kentucky, makes up row 15 inside, and Rick Witt, last year's Iowa winner, on the outside of row 15. Zachary Fitzwater in the 76, Iowa winner this year, in row 16 inside, and Tristan Allen in the 98 on the outside of row 16. Derek Hamill in the 87 Aaron's Machine is going to be starting inside row 17, and Steve Hickman, last year's Michigan winner, in row 17 outside. Finally, Arnold von Hindenburg in the 28, and the number 4 of Russ Kamoski will make up your final row. These are the drivers that did not make the race: Gatlin Downey, Giovanni Barraza, Mike Monacy, Zachary Fitzgerald, a disappointing DNQ for him, Jack Porkins, Stuart Gratton, and Cesar Chavez are all going to miss this race. However, Igor Barretto takes him down to the stripe, and we are ready to go. As we head into turn 1, Barretto getting an easy jump on the 22 truck, as he has Kurt Trencherman right on his back bumper. Trencherman is going to be able to slide up right in front of the 22, and now the 44 is going after Bill Cox, as Cox is easily going to start losing positions. That middle lane is really the fastest one around here, and this is where you're going to get all your positions, as 01 of Igor Barretto holding the lead, and I believe leading his first few laps of the season, as William Brock Motorsports has not been the greatest team as far as finishing results. However, they have gotten some decent runs going, and Igor Barretto right now having the fastest time in qualifying, a blazing fast time. We didn't even have any surprise. We had a bit of a surprise when he was able to get that time. However, the 60 is not having any of that fast time qualifier BS, as he is going to take it to the inside lane, and he will easily pick off the 01 as they head down the front straightaway, and he's going to take the lead, as well as lead lap number 4. This is a 200 lap race, and one of the longer races that we're going to see on this schedule, as this is a short track, but it has a lot of laps to log, and it'll take a little bit longer than usual, as the 60 truck of Kurt Trencherman continuing to pull away on the 01 truck. And this is really what we kind of expected to see as soon as the 01 got passed, because the 01 has not shown as much speed consistently. However, we did have a little bit of an incident in turn 1. Colin Denton kind of gets into the 90 of Kenny Washington, sends him up the racetrack and into the wall, and that collects a few other drivers as they try to scramble to avoid it. And then the one other driver that we would like to talk about, at least right now in the beginning of the race, the 61 of Dave Kennedy has had a very good season so far, considering he's only ran this race and Indianapolis. So obviously the state of Indiana doing a very good job for him, as he has made 2 races and 2 starts in 2 attempts in that 61 machine. He's definitely going to show a little bit more than what we expected to see from him, which wasn't really that much, but considering the fact that he is driving a Farfham Motorsports truck, he's doing a very good job of doing so in that Mopar Dodge number 61. And hopefully this shows a little bit more strength towards the end of the season. Another driver whom has had a struggling season, I guess struggling can be considered, as it's been up and down for Ace Garcia in the 03. He's been in the top 20, he's been in the top 26, he's been out of the top 26, he's been in it again, and then he's been out of it again. And he's just not been able to stay consistently in the top 26 like a lot of the other drivers, as we haven't really had any changes for 26th place in a while. Considering that Ace Garcia holds that 27th position, he's the first driver off the qualifying board, which means he has to race his way in. It's a little bit frustrating, especially with the fact that some of these drivers are a lot faster than he is, and he could be out of a race even if he is in 27th in points, which is definitely a bit of where the frustration comes from, is the fact that you can lose out on qualifying and then you can't gain any points afterwards, which means that you're going to fall farther away from that 26th spot. However, Ace Garcia doing himself a favor right now, sitting currently in 4th place. But that could change pretty quickly, as this track definitely has a few interesting twists and turns that could possibly go on, and he better be ready for them, or else he might fall back in the field. Another driver who has moved up 1 spot since he from his qualifying position, the 88 of Mitchell Henderson, currently 2nd in points. However, right now as they run, he would be considered the first driver in points, as Jason Kranz he started back in the field a little bit, and he hasn't really been able to move himself up through the field yet. He was a little bit involved in that accident at the very beginning, and surprisingly that accident didn't come out with a caution. So a lot of drivers really lucky that an early yellow didn't just immediately ruin what this green flag run could bring us, because the 88 right now, he's running a pretty brisk pace, although he's running fairly similar to the drivers in front of him. But drivers behind him, such as his teammate in the 3, are running a little bit faster than he is, especially Nathan Howman. Howman has had a very fast truck and has moved himself up through the field, especially starting back where he was. However, one driver who has to move his way up through the field now, the 01 of Igor Barreto, had to make an emergency pit stop. He said he felt a vibration in the tires, or some form of vibration. They took that truck down pit lane, changed all 4 tires, and it turned out to be one of the better decisions that he could have made as far as a driver and a crew chief is concerned, because that tire was ready to blow at any moment. That 01 definitely dodged a bullet, though, as he currently sits a lap down and in 35th place, so we're going to have to see what he can do from this position onwards, because while he did hold 2nd place for a while, he's not there anymore, and something could, and this could be one of those things that really impedes his progress as far as where he might finish. And that is definitely a big disappointment for the 01, at least for right now. But there is a lot of laps still left to go. One driver who is taking advantage of that little incident, though, from the 01 is the 55 of Steven Thompson. He started really far up in the field, I believe in the 3rd row inside. And he was the first part-time driver in the field. And he's trying to make himself the first part-time driver to win a race. Currently, right now, he's sitting right behind Kurt Trencherman. A bit of a gap between the 2 drivers, but he's doing a good job of keeping steady pace with the 60 truck as we're heading towards the halfway point in the race. And Trencherman has had a bit of a battle between him and the 55 before. However, I don't know how much it culminated, and I don't know really where it went. But this could seem like a battle that could go on for quite a long time if they get anywhere near each other in this track. And this track can definitely be racy depending on how you run it. And that's exactly what's going to happen on lap number 90 as we continue on. We skipped a little bit ahead because there wasn't really much going on until this point, because the 55 now has gotten right up to the back bumper of the 60. Kurt Trencherman, I believe, caught some lap traffic a little bit and might have been slowed up, might not have been, as the 87 of Derek Hamill is currently right there in front of him. But I don't know if Hamill was really holding the 60 up. I feel like he would have been actually helping the 60, but the 55 moving to the inside, trying to take the lead. The only part-time driver that I've seen actually be able to challenge for the lead, and he has taken the lead down the back straightaway. So a good run right now for the 55 of Stephen Thompson. Dorellis Motorsports, exactly what they wanted to see, as they have 3 drivers with wins, and by golly, they would like to get the 4th one into the winner's circle as well. Although it's going to be a little bit more difficult, as Thompson has still got that hump to go over of qualifying in every race. However, a bit of an incident in lap number 123. A debris caution will be thrown, as they saw debris up in turns 1 and 2 that they didn't previously see, probably from one of those cars that was involved in that early incident, I believe on lap number 2. And Stephen Thompson will make it back to the yellow flag, and he will take the yellow flag for the first spot, as he also lapped a few other drivers, such as Kenny Washington right behind him, who was also involved in that incident. However, during the pit cycle under caution, the 55 is nowhere to be seen, except he is somewhere to be seen, and that is on the back straightaway with all of the lap down drivers. The 55 overshot the pace truck, and he is now having to pit with the lapped cars, which is a devastating blow and a big mistake from that 55 machine. That will give Kurt Trencherman the lead back. And as you can see, the 37 looking very slow actually on that restart. Something looks like it could be going wrong with the 37. And we're getting word that a few cars are being penalized, and we'll most likely see them coming down pit lane this time, as we did see them kind of back in the corner there. And one of them actually is the 37 of Daniel Bouchard, and we're going to see a few more drivers as we're going to watch the replay of Daniel Bouchard ducking down the pit lane. Rick Witt and Jennifer Power will also be penalized. They did not tighten up all the lug nuts on those wheels, so they had to take a full pit stop. That is the MSCA rules. If you do not tighten the lug nuts all the way on each of those trucks, that means that you have to take a full pit stop, which means that you have to do both sides of the car, take the wheels off, and put them directly back on. And that is a devastating blow for those drivers who were involved. Another driver who was involved was actually Stephen Thompson, which makes it even worse for the fact that he got sent to the back of the field, and now he's a lap down. So definitely a bad day going worse for Thompson. And oh, trouble! In turn 3, the 60 truck, Derek Hamill gets involved. A few other drivers pile in. That's the 61 and the 38, as well as, I believe, a few others. And the 60 of Kurt Trencherman, heavy damage to that 60 truck. And there's no way that truck is continuing. A very big event happening right now in turns 3 and 4. As Trencherman getting knocked out of the race by one of the drivers who's penalized, coming back up onto pit lane. And the 44 truck would bring him down to the yellow flag. He would be the leader until the fact that he also occurred a problem. So something happened to the 44 truck of Justin Zeidel, and he had to come back down to pit lane. That will leave the 88 of Mitchell Henderson the lead. And this is definitely what Mitchell Henderson might have been looking for. It's kind of surprising how the shuffle came out, and Mitchell Henderson ended up as the leader. A few drivers actually did take down to pit lane, one of them being Bill Cox. But a few different drivers did go down pit lane to try and get maybe a little bit faster, get a little bit fresher tires, get some more fuel back in that car. and maybe get a decent run coming up in this in these last few laps, as we are on, I believe, almost lap 140. And currently Mitchell Henderson is leading the field right now. He's on the high line though, which is definitely not going to be good for him. The driver behind him is now the 16 truck of Alexander Rowe, and Alexander Rowe he's had chances to win, but he's just not been able to complete every single chance that he's gotten. And one of those being at Circuit of the Americas, only he encountered a problem, as well as Daniel Bouchard, who was pretty much fighting for that lead with him. And both of those drivers ended up encountering a problem, which led the way for Kieran Pangborn to actually take the win. And that's really what Alexander Rowe is trying to avoid if he can. But right now he's got to catch that 80 truck, who is just pulling away from him right now. The 80 of Mitchell Henderson definitely has some speed, and he's one of the faster trucks on the speedway. And it really shows a testament to how well built these Revolution Racing trucks are, and how well the drivers are in these trucks, as he's able to just completely negate the entirety of the rest of the field. And it looks right now that Mitchell Henderson might be actually keeping the 16 truck kind of at a certain distance. He's not really pushing that truck very much. As we cut back to the 01 of Igor Barreto, after all of this, he has made his way back to 17th. That second caution with the 06 and the 81 definitely helped out, as he's been able to get back into the race and complete that lap back, I guess you could say. Get the lap back for that 01 truck, and he's going to be considered in 17th right now, as he also has passed a few trucks. I believe a lot of these drivers behind him are the ones that went into pit lane, and it's definitely not the best of situations for those drivers who did go into the pits, because of the fact that there was a lot more drivers that didn't pit, and now they're trying to push their way through the field, but obviously a lot of drivers that did not pit are going to be a little bit slower than they are, so they're going to have to use up some of their equipment getting up to the front. And I don't know if these drivers who did pit will be able to get up to the front of the field. As we can see, we talked about Kieran Pangborn a little bit earlier when we were talking about Alexander Rowe, but Kieran Pangborn right now currently running in 7th, and this is his second best finish, I believe, if he were to stay here, as Pangborn has just not had the best season so far. It's been up and down, especially considering the fact that he won a race and then just hasn't done really much since. But this could definitely be a saving grace for him, as he's fallen back to 12th position. He's fallen out of the top 10, which is where that win put him in. So the 24 of Kieran Pangborn definitely looking alive and well here, and hopefully this can translate to a little bit better finishes later on in the season, as we go to a very interesting track next race. I believe is Mid-Ohio, which is one of the 3 road courses that we travel to in this schedule. However, coming to the last 5 laps of the race, the 88 of Mitchell Henderson has kept his distance from the 16, and I think he's going to be able to keep his distance as far as he can. And I believe he was kind of saving his equipment a little bit, considering the fact that he just wasn't even gaining on the 16 afterwards. And that might be what the 88 truck was doing, as he was trying to conserve whatever he had and make sure he had as much as he could at the end of this race. And he's definitely showed why he is worth the win. However, a lot of his fans are going to be disappointed if he does win, because they kind of wanted him to win the championship without winning a race. And considering you get 60 points compared to 35 for second place, it definitely will help him out if he gets a win, and it will increase the gap over second place, which I believe will still be Jason Kranz, because Jason Kranz actually moved up in the field a little bit. He's above 18th in the race right now, and that'll definitely help him. As the white flag comes out, the next lap, green flag was flying this one. We are on lap 199 of 200, as Mitchell Henderson continues to keep that gap between him and the 16. He started to pull up a little bit closer on the 37 of Daniel Bouchard, but I don't think he's going to have any way of trying to pass him. as the white flag coming out this time. Mitchell Henderson, one more lap to go before he can take home his first victory and give himself another top 10. He has pretty much been in the top 10 on every race except for, I believe, Kentucky, or I believe also Kansas was another race that I don't think he got a top 10. Is one of those two races. However, Mitchell Henderson coming off a turn 4, he will take the checkered flag here at Indianapolis Raceway Park for his first win of the season. It came a little bit later than he expected, but there he is, burning it down on the front straightaway. Mitchell Henderson happy about the way this race came out, as he will take home the first place trophy. Alexander Rowe in second. Nathan Howman coming from pretty much the very back of the field in third. Fourth is Al Lagasse. Fifth, Antonino Russo. Sixth, Arnold von Hindenburg, so a good race for Malley Motorsports. Seventh, Kieran Pangborn. Eighth, Steve Hickman. Ninth is Tristan Allen. And 10th, a good run for Ace Garcia in the 0-3. Jason Kranz 11th, William Brock 12th. 13th, Nick Pericles. 14th, Bill Cox after starting second on the board. Eric Monaco 15th, a good finish for him. Isaac Nichols as well in 16th. Zachary Fitzwater 17th. Kenny Washington 18th, able to salvage whatever he could after that incident on lap number 2. Colin Denton in the 19, finishing 19th, so a bit of a good finish for him as far as if you're coinciding with the number of where you finished. And then finally, in the last of the top 20 will be the number 38 of Tanya Breyer in in the Black & Decker Chevrolet. Derek Yarworth is going to be ending up in 21st. Russ Kamaski, nothing really he could have done this entire race. His truck was slow for the entirety of it. He's going to end up in 22nd. Igor Barreto, even though he did end up in 17th, he did fall off a lot, and he ended up in 23rd. 24th, Ryan Kendall. He was another driver who was trying to make his way up through the field after he ended up with kind of the same situation as Barreto. Justin Zeidel, after that incident, he ends up in 25th. 26th, Dave Kennedy, after getting involved in that traffic jam crash with the 60 and the I believe the 81 truck. Eli Bright, Rick Witt, and Daniel Bouchard are the last 3 trucks to finish on the lead lap. Stephen Thompson will finish a lap down after leading a significant amount of laps this race. Fernando Olieza, Jennifer Power, Fredemar Otts will also finish on a lap down, while Kurt Trencherman, Derek Hamlin, and Ian Jones will go out after that wreck on, I believe, lap 131. And Mitchell Henderson, with that win, will take over the points lead by force with a 30, I believe, around a 30-point lead over second place of Jason Kranz. Jason Kranz is getting his door knocked on now, as Al Lagasse is coming close with Nathan Howman tied for third. Kenny Washington in 5th. 6th is Russ Kamaski, and those two had the points lead for a while at the top of the board. Alexander Rowe is in 11th. Kieran Pangborn, as we said, has fallen out of the top 10, and he has considered his spot safe for now, but he needs to continue moving up through the board. Derek Yarworth 13th, 14th Antonino Russo, 15th is Zachary Fitzwater, 16th Tristan Allen, 17th Ryan Kendall, 18th Rick Witt, as he fell off a little bit from the board after that bad finish. He's tied with Justin Zeidel in the 44. And Kurt Trencherman, after DNFing, is going to be finishing in 20th. Jennifer Power falling off the top 20, now she's in 21st. Eric Monaco moving up after being on the cut line, I believe, in 22nd now. Steve Hickman in 23rd after he was also on the cut line at some point. Eli Bright or Isaac Nichols in 24th. Eli Bright 1 point behind in 25th. And Tanya Breyer is going to be your bubble driver on that cut line in 26th. Ace Garcia and Colin Denton at this point are the only 2 drivers that really have a chance of breaking that top 26. These are the drivers that are at the very bottom of the field and pretty much have no chance of making the championship. However, some of these drivers are part-timers and are trying for that, I guess, part-time championship. Jacob Poole, however, has to pass the 55 to get up to that part-time championship. Bob Schwepka with 35 points is nearly falling off the board. However, he has a few drivers behind him that have not made a lot of races and have not finished very well. However, that's going to do it for IRP. We will see you guys next time for race number 11 for the MSCA American Ethanol Truck Series. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.